Hi, and welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast in association with CarWow, the online car-changing destination. Together, we share tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your department, dealership, or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett, or some of you might already know me as Skippy. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. So hi, welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. Listen, we need to continue with Chris because we didn't finish the conversation last time and there's so many good ideas that we need to kick around. Chris, welcome back.
Hello, Simon. How you doing?
Yeah, really good. So in that sales team and your current sales team, what gets celebrated most and why? Is it just the sale? Is it the CSI or the customer satisfaction index? What is net promoter score, I think Mercedes called it. What gets celebrated most and why?
The guys where I am now, yeah, there's a core of the team here that have been here for a very, very long time. I handed out a 25-year service award on Friday to a chap called Sanjeev. So they're a really mature team by contrast to the team that I was at Ruxley with. There's 4 or 5 of them that have been here a very long time. They're selling customers their 10th, 12th, 13th cars.
By the way, sorry, I just have to jump in there. If you're new listening to this podcast, just listen to what Chris said there, okay? It's not just selling one car, okay? It's selling people their second, their third, their fourth, 25 years in one place, selling a customer their 12th car. That's where, don't you get salespeople all the time, they job hop all the time. And I think, what are you doing? The people who do really well, they stay in one place forever, don't they? Sorry, I just had to jump in there because we hear this all the time, Chris, don't we? But then you get the new guys just think, hold on, I'm going to go to another place for an extra $5,000 basic on the wage or something. I thought, what are they doing?
I've not known anybody in my time in career that have been in place as long as these guys.
25
But
years.
it's a real wow factor for anybody that comes here is the fact that maybe, somebody in 2010 bought their used car from Nicky and they're going to come back and buy another one from Nicky or maybe they've bought 4, 5 or 6 between them. So there's some real familiarity. But in terms of what we celebrate, I make a point of making everything visible. So I share the budgetary requirements every month with the team. I share the news of what's going on. We share our weekly auction results. We share each other's results. We make it really, really visible all the time. And we try to celebrate wins within the team at the minute because what we need to do here is these guys have seen owners come and go. They've seen management teams come and go.
Yeah, of course.
They've seen, and they've been here the whole time. So what I need to bring here is consistency and build up that team ethic again, where they're not just serving themselves because they've become good at doing that because they've had to.
Yeah.
They're now willing to be part of something bigger than themselves again and recognise that they have to be vulnerable and take some risks and that's okay and they're in a safe environment. So we're celebrating stuff between them really rather than any of the big stuff at the minute.
So I'm going to talk about your training consultancy background because I'm always curious, why do people like us? Now, I've only ever been a general sales manager. I've not been a head of business or anything like that. And then I went into sales training because I had an experience where a trainer turned up at my dealership and quite frankly, he was crap. And I thought I could do the arrogance in me thought I could do a better job than him. So I have a question. What makes someone like you go from into training consultancy to start with there? And then also, having gone through that, because I think there's one advantage, of course we couldn't do this, but if I had a brand new sales manager, I would love to sit them in my car for 3 months because they see so many different dealerships. They see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you learn so much. So I want to ask, what have you learned from seeing lots of different places that's helped shape your leadership style where you are now?
How do I answer that? So I think perspective, really, more than anything. I think that I think I mentioned it earlier, working for different brands, working at different roles and doing different things certainly gives you perspective, and you get to see a real wide breadth of what to do and what not to do, don't you? What works and what doesn't work. And sometimes actually when you see things that maybe you don't like on the face of it, but then you see the results that maybe something is producing, it kind of opens up your acceptance to there being other ways of doing things. There's more ways than one to get the result. And certainly, working, in training and development, I moved about an awful lot, and all over the UK and parts of Europe with various different teams of people. And I sat in rooms I probably shouldn't have been sat in, actually, with really significant stakeholders of manufacturers, feeling a bit, oh, wow, this is like incredible. But just the different perspectives, yes. The perspective of a retailer, someone selling a car on the floor here today, versus the expectation of somebody at Mercedes-Benz head office. And we sometimes do that. We do a bit of visualization. If somebody's doing something that maybe isn't desirable, we'll talk about closing your eyes and imagine the offices in Stuttgart, and imagine the people coming back from their lunch, and can you imagine them doing what you just did? Oh, no, okay, yeah, I get it. So yeah, just perspective is the biggest thing that I think the different jobs have given me.
So let's move forward. AI. There's not a single conference I haven't been to recently where they talk about the AI revolution. We go to the National Automotive Dealers Association in America regularly. I think 26 times I've been out there, and so many companies now are putting AI at the end of their name. We should be Simco training AI, because that's what lots do. Is AI, is it going to replace salespeople? Are we going to have these companies out there? And I know Ben from Inpel will be screaming at this now because he's a fan of the podcast and listens and saying, yes, it can do it really well. I don't know if it's there yet. I don't know if it's ever going to replace us. What's your views on where AI, is it going to change our sales process? Are you going to have 25-year salespeople, or will you just have Colin, the chat GPT, to replace him?
Yeah, I think
That's a question. That's a big question.
we've been talking about the end of salespeople for years, haven't we? I think we mentioned it earlier. I remember the Rock Car business opening in London, where it was going to be
Yes,
just
yes.
a store where people just walk in
Yep,
and buy a Land Rover without talking to a single human.
yep. I think the
It,
OEMs would love that, by the way,
of
if it
course,
worked. Yeah.
yeah, of course, but it won't, because and people make references, don't they? They go, you don't, if you go to John Lewis, you just go and buy a toaster. You don't need to talk to a sales executive. And I think it's so different. The model that we operate within, the need for what's the right word? The need to have somebody to check what you think you know. So a consumer can do lots of research, can't they? They can do lots of things, lots of understanding and finding out. And often they turn up knowing what they want.
Yep.
But they do want to check. They just want to check that what they think they've found is right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we've got the part exchange, and we've got the finance and the right way to do it, and all the other bits that we do. And I think still, consumers of cars, certainly, they still want to be able to go, it's not how it went. They want someone to be
Yep.
able to bring up and go, this is not what you
I
said.
want someone to yell at, if someone to take
Yeah,
accountability if it goes wrong.
exactly that, exactly that. And in terms of AI, we're at I think we're so early on in its existence. And
And
what
it is
we,
moving very fast, to be fair, very fast.
yeah, I think 5 years, where we'll be in 5 years, I don't know. But at the minute, what I see of AI is the way it writes descriptions for vehicles that you're selling. Some of my team members here have used it to write emails to the team. It's so obvious. It feels impersonal. It looks like there's no better way to say I didn't bother, I don't think, than getting an AI bot to write a message to your team. So I'm not sure it's ready to replace the human, but it's probably got a place. I think I was listening to a podcast. Is it Mo Gaudat on?
Yeah.
He's an Egyptian mathematician,
Yep.
famous for another book called Solve for Happy.
Yeah. What a great, I love that.
Great book, great writer. I'm
Yep.
currently reading Unstressable, actually, which is another book of his. But he talked about AI and sort of said, because I think he's the chief AI officer for
Google.
what's his name from Dragon's Den? Someone's
Stephen
name.
Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett, that's it. Yeah, so
Okay.
he's sort of working for him now. And
Okay.
he said, if it's data in, data out, then it's like it's brilliant, light years. It just organises it, and I have used it actually for some Excel
Yep.
work and
Yep.
bits of things like that that where it can
Co
do it way quicker than
coding.
I could.
You don't have to learn code anymore because it can actually write computer code. You put in English what you want a program to
Yeah,
come out at. Yeah. You don't
and
have to.
it goes off and understands it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
does it, generates it, and I've had some fun with my kids with it as well. We've done some cool stuff at home, with homeworks and whatever.
Mhm.
But when it comes to actually interacting with somebody
Mm.
and in a personal manner, I just think that it's always going to appear a little bit fake.
Yeah. My concern is, and there's companies out there like Podium and NPAL, and they're trying to take that digital inquiry and either book the service or actually just make the appointment or deal with the customer there. My concern when I read some of these things, yes, you've got to de-Americanize them. Yes, and that's so easy to do. But even if you get it brilliant, and it is getting so good, okay? But then we're going to hand it over to John, a salesperson that's been working for 25 years. And suddenly you've built this relationship with this bot, and then John takes over. Whenever you hand it over, it's almost like, hold on, you've just changed the whole way you're dealing with an email now. That's a challenge they need to overcome. And the other thing I heard this, can't remember where, but they have planes now that can take off, do the whole flight, and land without the pilot touching a single control. But Chris, are you ready to get on a plane without a pilot sitting up the front? I,
Definitely
I,
not.
I'm not. I'm not at all. We want the pilot up there for when the shit hits the fan, I
Can you
think.
imagine as well? It'll be an electric plane soon, won't it?
Yes, yeah, it will be. Now, having said that, I love the idea where AI can help make the human better. And AI with targeted training, we use it for that now because we would turn up and normally train a whole sales team. But now we can listen to all the calls. AI can listen to calls, identify where Jenny needs to be improved, identify where Bob's doing things really well. Okay. And that it's the data in, data out. You're dead right. Once we can listen to every single call, once we can listen to every email backwards and forwards, we can identify what Jenny and Bob's doing right and wrong and where they can be improved. I think AI is great to have targeted training and it's got great results there. Will it replace us? Oh, I hope not, Chris. Now, again, if you're listening to this podcast in 2035, okay, and you've just gone to board a car and Chris and I are at McDonald's saying, is that eat here or take away, sir? Would you like fries with that? But I still think we're going to be there. Don't people still buy people, Chris?
I think so. I think it's really important to have that personal touch, have the relationship. There's someone to pick the phone up to, um, and to keep picking the phone up to. As I've just mentioned already here at Brookings, that relationship
Well,
goes so far.
it's creating that wow factor. Okay, you've got a salesperson at 25 years selling people lifelong customers. Okay, 12 times they bought a car, they've come in there. Humans can do that. Okay, but how do you coach your team to let them understand that it's not just one off? How do you create that wow factor? Is what I'm driving at for a customer.
Well, the here itself is a wow factor. The place is a wow factor.
It is.
We've
People have
got
not been there. It's absolutely. It's you walk in there, you can't help but be wowed.
Yeah, we've adapted some of the team. We've got some star experts here that previously were mainly answering product questions throughout the day. We've shifted their focus into a more handover role.
Hmm.
So we're doing that. We've got a lovely handover bay here. We can get 4 cars in it. We're really privileged. It's got an opaque glass window that you can unopaque at the push of a button to reveal the car. And
Nice, nice.
if we've got the tools around us one of the things I actually realised very quickly when I got here was that we weren't probably using the tools that were
Mm.
around us as well as we could. So we're a business within a business here. We're a retailer in one corner of Mercedes-Benz world,
Mm.
and I have a great relationship and a weekly meet with the guys that run Mercedes-Benz world. So we've got a driving team. Charlotte heads up the business here. We've got a catering team. We've got a driving experience team. And we have got a good involvement with them. And so one of the things that I've put together is the ability to utilise some of the experiences for test drives without paying for the full experience.
Mhm.
So if somebody is, they do like a G-class off-road experience here, for example, it's £280, let's say, picking
Mhm.
a rough number out of the sky. We've negotiated a 30-minute quick experience for our customers, which costs us £70 odd. But when you're selling a
Yeah.
£150,000 G class,
Mhm.
to be able to send someone out into Weybridge on the road
Yeah.
and then give them 30 minutes wading through
Yep.
1.3 meters of water and show them really what the G class is all about, they might never use their car for that, but they'll never forget that visit, and it'd be worth £70 to get that sale, wouldn't it? So,
It's great
you know,
for you to do that because, again, we work with JLR dealers and people get the JLR experience afterwards.
yeah,
But I always think it'd be great to do it beforehand, wouldn't it?
it's
I
really
mean,
obvious, isn't it?
The Porsche dealerships, you go and buy the lovely Porsche 911, you go to Silverstone and the Porsche Centre there. But again, afterwards,
Yeah.
but you've got that ability to do that. That's sensational, isn't it?
It's really unique, and it wasn't being leveraged before. And I'm not going to lie, we're not doing loads of them. It's not like
Mm.
we're doing hundreds of these experiences all the time. But
No, it's
if you've
70,
got a
70 pounds.
customer
Yeah.
that is seriously thinking about buying a really expensive brand new Mercedes AMG or G class, then we will endeavour to try and create a really
Mm.
amazing experience for them to come and test it and experience it in a way they never would be able to if it wasn't from us.
Do you measure the closing ratio from the people that you've done that to? It must be through the roof, right?
To be fair, I think most people that come here
Mm.
for that kind of product are
Yeah.
probably fairly serious anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we haven't measured it in detail yet, but we've certainly had some emails in to say, what an incredible opportunity that was, and couldn't do that anywhere else. Thank you so much. So we've had some real positive feedback, but it's the start of that creation of a wow factor, isn't it? By the time you've done that, and
Mm.
then they've dealt with, Joe Lopez, who's been here for 20 years, or whatever, and he's the number one AMG top end vehicle salesperson in the UK, and he's been really, really consistent for them and been a
Mm.
great communicator. And then they get the handover experience in the bay with their
Mhm.
name on the wall and a star expert that knows about every button in that car. It's really hard after all of that to not say five star,
Mm.
And more importantly, actually, I think, when you're putting credit in the bank, aren't you, for the inevitable hiccups that happen in our industry. A car gets held because of a technical issue, or things happen, don't they? With the modern car. And if your customer's really, really happy, they forgive you, they
Mm.
let you, they let the mistakes and the problems unfold, and you earn that relationship. So that's what it's all
Yeah.
about, isn't it?
It's like a favorite restaurant that we love to go back to. Okay. We go back there because we know the people. Of course, the food is brilliant, of course, but you'd forgive them one bad starter, wouldn't you? You forgive them
But
one bad cappuccino comes out that's cold or whatever. You forgive them that because of everything else is so right, and they've earned the right to get away with that one bad starter.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, they do. Hey, listen, I'm interested about yourself then, okay? As a high performance head of business, head of sales, okay? How do you maintain your work-life balance, okay? How do you prevent people from burning out is what I'm really driving at here because motor trade eats people up and spits them out. The hours we work, now compared to hospitality, it's probably nothing, okay? And I only know the motor trade, that's all I've done. How do you yourself, firstly, get that work-life balance right? And well, do you? I don't think I get it right sometimes. I wish I would get it right, but I still struggle with that.
I think how I do it versus how I do it with my sort of look after that aspect with my team are probably different, I suppose. So it's about environment, isn't it? If the environment is, if it's a grating, difficult environment to exist and be in, nobody's going to enjoy coming here. I really subscribe to that. You know, that your culture is how your staff feel on a Sunday night. I like that. I like that thought. And actually, if you think about that and then let that drive some of your behaviour with
I
your
love that.
team,
I'm going to go back and write that down later. It's so true that.
it is. Yeah, I've read it on LinkedIn, I think, but it really
Yeah.
resonated with me. And I thought,
Yeah.
how do we make Monday mornings easy for people to come and get going again? So, and I challenged the guys here, the management team, with it. And what David's done actually is that David Rim is our sales manager. He's done away with Monday morning meetings. So we have a management get together. We do our forecasts and look at last week's performance, but the sales guys get to just come in and get themselves together after a weekend and get their week going at their pace to a point. And then we actually only have a sales meeting now on a Tuesday and a Friday. So we have a quick catch up on a Tuesday about what the week looks like, and then a quick one on a Friday just to say what the weekend looks like. And that's really working. So, that was feedback that they gave. And they said, we don't really see the value in getting together every day. It feels like we're doing
But Chris, you're
one
asking
thing.
for that feedback.
Yeah, all the
Yeah,
time.
that's important. But how many managers don't though? Okay, they don't ask for that constant feedback back from their team.
Yeah, you've got to. That's all we've got, isn't it?
Yeah.
Their views and opinions. We said earlier, how do you measure your own success past the
Mm,
sales board?
mm,
I last week I sat with that core team of people that have been here for a very long time. Individually, we went and had a coffee in Mercedes-Benz World. Just away, no notebooks, no laptops, just how you doing, what's going on, how do you feel it is, what could we change, what's going well for you, just a real genuine one-to-one, if
mm.
you like. And to have one of those, given everything that's happened in this business, to have one of those experienced, long-serving people say, you're a breath of fresh air, that's it. I'm there, aren't I? That's it for me. I think if you can say that to me, then the environment that we're creating is good. And without their feedback and view, how can we possibly develop and move forward?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. So true. And listen, I want to change gears now. I want to go back to your proudest moment in your career as a sales leader. Is there any particular achievement, awards, or anything that you're most proud of? And what made it so special?
There's probably not an award as such. I've always been a bit. I've never won any awards, Simon. If I'm honest, I've not got any glassware on the shelf. But I think the thing that I am most proud of, or the achievement I'm most proud of, would definitely be what we did with the team at Ruxley.
Mm.
Um, you
That's the
know, but
BMW team that you started from scratch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it was just that seeing so many people develop so quickly and so well was
Mm.
a real achievement. An achievement not just for me, but for the retail managers that were also running that team with me. The fact that they're still there, the fact that I was able to leave the business and they didn't need to put another GSM back in there.
Oh, that's a
Um,
big one for me. That's brilliant because you should make yourself not needed there. If you were actually you had to be working on the business, not in the business to
yeah,
achieve that.
exactly that. And I was a support if they were away or off or whatever. But
Mm,
I shared everything with them. I
mm,
made them aware of everything. I never kept anything to myself. I always feel like sometimes leaders or managers hold on to certain pockets of knowledge, don't they, to sort of
mm,
make sure they retain some kind of power and leverage. And I've never really subscribed to that. I'm really comfortable if one of those goes past me and does better than me, then brilliant. I'll put
mm,
my hand up and say high five or well done. So I think involving them and showing them, and the fact that they're still operating really, really well there is a real thing for me in terms of pride. And I still talk to them on the phone. I get the odd call, or I
mm.
call them. We recently helped each other out with some tables and chairs for an event. But yeah, they're a good team of guys. Really, really proud of what we did there. And we were able to, importantly, actually, just before I finish that, we were able. So there's a balanced scorecard within the BMW network,
Hmm.
and when I got to that business, it was quite low. It was 132 out of 134.
Wow.
And by the end of 18 months of that new team, we climbed it up to 16th in the scorecard. And it just felt like a real achievement. We never got to number one or top 10, but we just did the guys just
But
did a
the
great job.
turnaround
Yeah, it was
for
brilliant.
people who don't know what a trade plate is when they started,
Yeah,
that's the thing there, really, isn't it?
yeah.
What about the flip side? And now this is a shameless plug for our first 90-day sales training program. What we say is that the skills that people learn in the first 3 months, good and bad, okay, it lasts them for their lifetime. Okay. Can I ask you, is there anything that you learned in your first 3 months in the motor trade that's as relevant now as it was when you started?
Probably having a positive attitude.
Mm.
And I don't mean that in a real cliche kind of way. What I mean is that this Ryan O'Sullivan, who I mentioned earlier, that's head of business at Ruxley currently, we always used to say there's quite a lot of average people around
Mm.
in our industry. And
Mm.
actually, to shine, if you just do what you said you're going to do
Yeah.
and you be consistent and you show up, you're a good way to being a bit better than the lot.
Yeah.
And so I learned that early on, being an apprentice in 1996
Mhm.
in a commercial vehicle workshop where the pit needed to be shoveled out twice a week and the oil room had to be
Wow.
cleaned out and the coal lorries had to be jet washed. It definitely taught me a bit of resilience, a bit of
Mm.
get up and go, a bit of showing up, not getting beaten down by the negativity. And I think you mentioned earlier about what I do to avoid my own burnout. I actually I've learned. I don't know if I've learned it or I've trained myself or if it just happened, but I don't really consider work and life as separate things. I've
How
learned
do you
to,
mean?
well, this job for me is like a lifestyle. I think
Mm.
you're either doing it and loving it or you're not.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love every bit of it. I love it when we
Yeah.
don't hit targets. I love it because we can learn. I love it when we do hit targets. I love it when we have to do accounts. I love it when we're doing budgets. I love it when I have to stay late. I just love it. And I think I've learned over the years to be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Mm.
And so I don't ever feel real burn out. I don't feel like I need a break or I got to get away from it
Yeah.
because I do. I've got four young girls at home. They're from 16 to 7.
Mhm.
Three of them play football, so they keep me really, really busy.
Mhm.
But it's just like, I don't. I was talking to Andrea, she's our dealer assistant here this morning. Every Monday, she says, "How's your weekend?" And I'm like, flat out. I was
Mhm.
racing here, kids there, football there, that game in Brighton, this game in Dorking.
Mm.
But it's just one life, isn't it? Why is there a
Mm.
difference? And until I think if you look at work and you don't like it, you either need to learn to like it
Or get another career.
or change. Yeah, change it.
Yeah.
Make a change because it won't serve you well, will it? Otherwise,
No, that's true. Why stay in a career you don't enjoy? People do though, don't they? But
yeah,
yeah, I think you're
yeah.
right. Hey, listen, this podcast is all about learning from other people's experiences. So can I ask the flip side of that? Okay. Are there any hard lessons along the way? Anything that you've learned that you wish you knew earlier on? So someone else can learn from maybe your mistakes, maybe my mistakes. Any hard lessons learned along the way that you wish you'd had your time again to do differently?
I think it's relative, but certainly, that servantile style of leadership
Mm.
probably wasn't cool when I first became a sales manager,
Mm.
and it was back then. It was probably a bit egotistical to have that role. You had a nicer car, you didn't work weekends or those kind of things, and there was a bit of an aloofness to the role, which in hindsight is a bad thing. I think
Mm.
it's not cool to be important anymore, is it?
No.
Um, but I don't know that I would have been able to know that back then. It didn't feel like it wasn't where we were in business back then.
Mm. Okay.
Um, but certainly looking after people, um, I wish someone had shown me that a little bit more thoroughly early on. I've always been into helping people and coaching and trying to provide the right guidance, but I definitely could have done it better with the teams I worked with in the early days at Audi.
But don't we have to go through that to learn how we could have done it better? I mean, some of the stuff I did early when I first job as a sales manager, I cringe at now. Was it the industry at the time? Yeah. Was it my insecurity? If I'm brutally honest, because you're just starting this. Yeah. As always, you get thrown into the role as a sales manager because it's like, oh, Jason's left. We need someone to do it. You'll do. I remember thinking, shit, what the hell do I do now?
But you feel like it's expected to know, don't you? Because you've got the badge now.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately that doesn't generate good behaviour, does it? It doesn't generate, because that's then that breeding that whole keep it to yourself because it's your power, it's your angle. Whereas actually, if you make it all right, I said David is our sales manager here at the minute, and he's new to the role. He's a great guy, great personality, and he does a good job. He knows the job technically, but I just keep making it okay for him to not know the answer. Like, it's okay. Let's do it together. Let's find it.
Yep.
Because I don't want him to feel like too much expectation that starts driving those behaviours that I regret from my early sales career. I hate to see that today. Hate to see it because it wouldn't bode well with the experienced team that we've got here.
Listen, I've really enjoyed this conversation. I could go on and on here, but I suppose I just looked at the time there. So I want to wrap this up by asking, okay, lots of people will be listening to this podcast because they're just moving into their first management role, be a service manager, being a sales manager, a head of sales, head of sales, even a head of business. What advice would you be able to give to them? What's the one thing that maybe someone's told you in the past or you've learnt when you because someone's listening to this, they've got a whole new team, they're just going to have to measure and manage, but they've never done it before. Any advice you'd like to leave them with?
I'd say create an environment where feedback is free flowing. Both ways, in all directions, omni-channel feedback. You really need people to feel free about how they feel, what's going on, to talk about things openly without there being any negatives to having the conversation. I think all of that, any conversation about how a department is operating is good conversation. And I'd say probably identify who your stakeholders are and what they require really, really quickly and understand that.
Chris, I love this conversation. How do people reach out to you? Is LinkedIn the easiest way for them to find you?
Yeah, or if you can take the time to drive to Mercedes-Benz World and come and skid around a racetrack. But definitely LinkedIn. I'm on there. I think I'm on there as Christian Cormier as my full name. But you definitely find me on there for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, Skippy. Have a good day.
That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.